Your ropes you run with are what, 200s?
We have 300s if we need it. Yeah.
Right. So, but you might run into a 350 somewhere, like a steep or something like that. You're doing, right? But we didn't get into any of that stuff. You might have steep. It's not the vertical stuff like we're doing on the cliffs. You know, steep might transition to vertical and then steep again. So you might have this really long thing where you do have to bypass a knot because there's no safe place for them to go off to the side while you undo the system, rig it all back up, and keep going, right? So, a bunch of different ways to do it. If you look online, there's tons of different things. I'll send you the video.
Okay.
There's a couple video links that I think they explain it really well.
Great.
That stuff. You folks have the you've bought the CMC load release straps,
yes.
right? So they make a specific. It's a blue webbing strap. You know, kind of like that kind of blue webbing, but it's not that strap.
Yeah.
And it is made for nothing more than load release. So in other words, it's about this long, maybe. And if you can picture, the strap goes through, and then it just winds around itself. And then clips into itself, so it can't extend at all. Once you unclip it, you start unwinding it, and at some point, because it's not moving because of the friction of the wrap going around it. As you unwind it, there's less and less friction, and then all of a sudden it'll start to go. And you can let go of it in a very controlled manner. Right, so that's the CMC release strap, really easy. The instructions, I think, are literally 3 or 4 sentences.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great for.
So yeah. So they're pretty simple. But speaking of that simple, so now we're gonna go to the radium release hitch, right? Which is, it's always blown my mind. It's really not that difficult, but it's a great way in a controlled manner to lower a load and not using the main system or any of the rest of that stuff. All right. So to tie a radium release hitch, basically I'm using the smaller cord, right? So it's not just gonna be one strand. It's gonna be 3 strands of the smaller cord. Jeremy, if you can actually hold this one. Right, so when you tie this, there's different ways to tie this too. And again, I'll send you a link where it is. So it's just figure 8 going through a carabiner, going through a bite. I'm gonna go through this one again. And now on this one, we didn't tie the moocher hitch, did we? In class at all, right?
No.
So the moocher hitch is, who has tied it before or used it?
It's been a long time.
Okay, been a long time. Okay, so it's a friction hitch that people use for rappelling, and so it's basically you're making a loop, and then you bring this bite back over top of it, and then this goes into the carabiner, and so that's a friction hitch right there. And so the friction of the rope going around that allows me to control the load, right? So I'm going to pull this all the way up until it collapses, and then this hitch, it flips around, but it stays to be it's the same hitch. It's gonna flip around to there, right? So now, if you can picture, so now I can control this whole load lowering it with this right here. And so it's really like a 3-to-1 going on in there with a friction hitch in it. So it's a very controlled manner of lowering. A couple different methods to tie it off. I can take this rope now and I can just start wrapping around using the same principle as your CMC load strap. I'm just keep wrapping it all the way around, and then as I unwrap it, at some point the load is going to start pulling it out. You can also, and believe me, your life's going to be a lot easier when you get the CMC straps.
Okay.
I can also dog it off. Half hitch.
I like how you're tying back the trucker.
And another half hitch. Yeah, kind of like same method, right? Just a couple half hitches there to keep it from coming apart, right? Okay, so now the rest of this tail, stack it, daisy chain it, whatever you need to do with it, okay? So, coming back to our, got it. All right, so the deal is, so I'm doing my lowering, and I'm going to use all without gloves, so I want that to be noted. So Jeremy, you want to go on that? So I'm doing the lowering. Don't pull the tree over. All right. So I'm lowering my load down. Going down, going down, going down. I know my knot's coming up. Stop. Okay, I'm going to stop it right about there, where the knot's pretty close to the device itself. Okay.
are you gonna tie? What kind of knot would we tie if we our two ropes together? Are you gonna,
So you could tie your barrel knot that you have, right? The barrel knot can be tied
double-
together with,
double
or the
fisherman
double
video?
fishermans you
Yeah.
can tie, or you can tie that figure eight, the figure eight bend.
Yeah, if we do a double fisherman, do we have to tie off our tails like into?
Not a double fisherman, no, because it's already the two
It's-
double.
okay.
I've never seen anybody. Have you? Tie off? No, it's like
it's
double
gotta-
fisherman. You're solid.
and it's
That
gotta be
thing-
a pretty small tail because it.
I would still keep the 4-inch. Now, 'cause you're-
Okay.
It'll still pass because it'll bend over itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
You're taking it out of the system anyways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the figure eight itself, the figure eight, you saw how big that was, but you want the fist tail
Oh,
for
okay.
everything
That's easy.
generally. Yep.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm doing, so the theory behind this whole thing, right, is that I am now going to grab the rope with a prusik. You know, in the video you're going to see the guy's going to tell you you can use one prusik or two. You know, because our rule was always, hey, I'm always going to use 2 prusiks on any life safety thing. You know, when we're doing the raise, the prusik we use is not holding the load. The MPD is, so I'm not worried about having just one prusik on there. Because if that prusik broke, the load's not going anywhere because this is stopping it. You know, other places, it's whatever your standard is, right? And he'll say that on the video. On I think it's Craig McClure. It's the Rescue Lab Academy folks. So I'm just gonna do 2 just for redundancy. Spirit of Christmas. Yeah, so the green one's longer than the red one. So they're made like that so that they're not gonna interfere with each other, right? So now I want this foot in here. I'm gonna slide these all the way down so they're grabbing as much of the load, you know, tight as they can. Because now if I ended this knot way back there, I'd have to lower this thing way out for that thing to, I want this knot to end up here. And then I'm gonna put the MPD back on. So that's in the end what's gonna happen, right? But so if I do this too far back, I don't have the radium release hitch is not long enough to let me do that because it's 3-to-1. So if it's 30 feet, it's still 10 feet. It's pretty long, actually. And then you don't want it too short because I still have to be able to lower this. I have to make this rope slack from here to here, right?
Okay.
So I can't bring the knot up to here, otherwise I'm screwed. I got to put a quick MA and raise it back up to get that back, right? So you know, maybe a foot and a half, something like that. You know, it should work fine. I don't know how long the CMC strap is maybe a little longer than this. And I'm not sure how long it actually goes. It goes a couple feet though.
Okay.
So it gives you some room there to play with, right? Okay, so I got these tight. The load is on. And again, whatever your SOP is going to be, some places just use 1, like the minimalists that are really lightweight. Other people do 2. All right, so all right, so this is set all the way. Lower down. As you see, that was about the max, right? So that was pretty close, right? Yeah. So that was like what, maybe 8 or 9 inches this time, right? Instead of that foot and a half. Because you'd be it would just mess. You'd be like, man, you have to figure something else out. So that was a little too close for comfort on that one. Or I totally meant to do it that way. Sure, we'll tell ourselves that. Okay, that's still gonna be my load side, right? So I'm gonna look at my picture. There, my uphill side's going on this side. There's no twist, no weird stuff. Okay, cool. pull.
I need some weight over there.
Almost.
Oh, how's that knot coming out?
Oh, they're pulling the knot out.
Yeah.
It is. Which is not good either. It won't happen with the other one, right? All right, so now I'm off of this.
Yeah.
Take my radium release off, or your anchor straps.
Boom and boom. Raising, passing a knot.
There's two different methods. One, the old school method is, you guys have a couple Aztecs and you might get a couple more, right?
We could. We have, yeah.
Anyhow, so the Aztek method is the easiest one.
That's right.
And it keeps it pretty functional. The other method is basically, you're gonna bring it up here, you capture the system with the knot, and then you just build a new anchor out to here. And then you take the MPD off, and then go from there, right? And if you have the room, great, you know, that kind of stuff. Because all I care about, right, is that knot on the downhill side of my MPD. Once it gets past that, if it's running through my mechanical advantage, doesn't matter. I can unclip it at any point during that, right? Because the MPD is the thing that's holding my load. It's not the rest of the Z or the 5-to-1 and stuff like that, okay? So, somebody want to build me a quick 3-to-1 on this? And on the downhill side. Or uphill side, sorry, up there. Yep, right there's perfect.
I see. So you can move your your mechanical advantage around that knot as you're raising. You can unclip it and get around it. Is that what you're saying? It doesn't matter until.
So the only time that needs this procedure is the knot going through this.
Yeah.
Then once it goes through this, I may have other, the pulley's going to be in there and stuff like that. But that's like you unclip the pulley, get on the other side
Right.
of the knot, and adjust it. Right.
Okay.
And this
Yeah.
is the part we're working on.
Gotcha.
In terms of getting it fixed. All right, cool. All right, so work with me on this, Jared. Don't make me lift you. All right, so you're coming up. Stop. You're resetting. So up. I can't really do this, so I'm gonna this again. I can do this perfectly safely. All right, take this off. Move the other side because there's nothing dangerous about what I'm doing, right? Because the MPD's holding it.
Right.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Okay, so my knot's right here right now, right? So what I'm gonna do is, I take the Aztek. This is really confusing things, so I'm gonna take this out for a second.
stationary, it's a change of direction. So if he's pulling on it, and that last rope goes through the pulley, it changes it. You can do 4 to 1 or 5 to 1, right? So that's how you know the difference. If he puts it on the other way, that pulley that he's grabbing the rope on isn't moving, so that is now a change of direction. Doing it the way he has now would give you the most mechanical advantage.
Does that make sense? So the last rope I'm pulling up.
Yeah.
If I flipped it and I was pulling, that last, my pull is not helping, it's just a redirect. Right, so, yep.
These carabiners are fucked.
All right, so the objective, I'm going probably a little hardcore in terms of how far out I'm sliding it. But the big thing is what? In terms of how far out this Aztek is.
Make sure you get the jump pass.
Yeah, right, long enough so this is gonna definitely be at least here when I'm done hauling. And it should be at least that when I'm done hauling with this, right? So now all I have to do with the Aztek should be good to go. What do you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Again, double check it because there's a lot of busy stuff going on. Somebody's hanging on the system right now, right? So you want to be super careful. No, low side, got it. Make sure there's not any twist or anything weird going on there. That'll work. Pull that up tight and then I can either mess with the Aztek or
Yeah.
It's his old crosser.
Yeah.
You gotta get rid of it.
Uh-huh.
right, and I lift this up, button into there, let go. My MPD is holding the load now. This is not doing it anymore. I just take it off, right?
And then you can just take it past pulley here.
Yeah.
You're just fine.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. So if now your knot hits that pulley, that's going to hit another pulley, and that's going to hit another pulley. You don't care at that point. It's going to slow you down,
Yeah,
but it's not a safety thing. It's, you don't need any special gear for it.
Yeah.
It's just in your way and hassling you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right?
Thank you.